How would you define a square number in your own words? Well, I simply define a square number as any number that results from multiplying a number by itself. So you can simply see it as a product of a number and itself. Whatever it results in, that's a square number. Nevertheless, the next question is, how do you create a square number? I'm going to show you how to create a square number, but the simple rule is just multiply a number by itself. And whatever answer you get, that's a square number. Let me show you some examples. When I multiply the following numbers, 1 times 1, the answer is equal to 1, right? Okay. 2 times 2, what's the answer? It's equal to 4, right? Okay. 3 times 3, that's equal to 9. And let me stop at 4 times 4 for now. This is going to give us 16. You see all these numbers, 1, 4, 9, and 16 given so far. These numbers written here are what we call square numbers. So you see what I mean when I said that a square number is simply the result of multiplying a number by itself? Now let me tell you something very important. Instead of doubling the numbers the way I did here, instead of doubling it 1 times 1, 2 times 2, and etc., we simply express a square number by putting a small 2 at the top right corner of the number. Let me show you some more examples. Let's say I want to continue with this flow to write square numbers. Instead of writing 5 times 5, I can just write something like this. 5 with a small 2 on top like this. I'll tell you more about it later. If I want to write 6 squares, I can write it 6 raised to the power 2. You get it like this? This is called 5 squared. This is called 6 squared. And this one, let's say 9 with a small 2 on top, you call it also as 9 squared. Now, what 5 squared simply means is the same thing as 5 times 5. That's what it means. And 5 times 5 gives us 25. So you see, this is now a square number because we multiply the number by itself to get it. Did you get that? Look at this again, for example. 6 squared is the same thing as 6 times 6, right? The same way you got them up here. And 6 times 6 is going to give you 36, right? It's as simple as that too. But instead of going through this process of 6 squared, 6 times 6 equal to 36, I can simply say something that 9 squared is just the same thing as 81. 5 squared is just the same thing as 25. 6 squared is just the same thing as 36. Instead of passing through this middleman, it makes my work easy. Let me show you a few more examples. 7 squared, for example. I can just say 7 squared is equal to 49 without saying it's 7 times 7. I already know that 7 squared is 7 times 7 because the little 2 on top of 7 tells me already that I'm multiplying 7 by 7. You see how that works? What about 13 squared? The same thing is 13 times 13, but I'm not going to write 13 multiply 13. I'll just write the full answer, 169. This is how it works. Just have it in mind. It's as easy as that. Can you try out working out some of these ones? If I require you to fill in this box, squared is equal to 64. What is in that box? Try filling it up. What about 17 squared? What is it going to be? What will be the answer for 17 squared? A simple way to write 11 times 11 is equal to something squared. What is going to be here? Try typing the answer to these questions in the answer box. And as always, thank you for watching. We are still on it. This time around, let's talk about square roots. To talk about square roots, let me just tell you, a square root and a square are opposite of each other. That is their relationship. See the following examples to talk about square root. If I want to look for the square root of 25, for example, the square root of 25, I'm simply going to say the square root of 25 is 5. How did I know that the square root of 25 is 5? The reason is simply because when I multiply 5 by itself, 5 times 5, the answer is going to give me 25. This is what you did when you were looking for square, okay? But now the square root is the reverse of the square. So the square root simply tells you to produce that number you multiply twice to give you the big number, to give you its square. So that particular number becomes the square root. Let me show you some more examples. If I'm looking for the square root of the number 49, for example, I'm simply going to say the square root of the number 49 is 7. Why? The reason is because 7 squared is 49. That is, 7 times 7 is 49. You remember that? What about the square root of 64? You want to try this one? Okay, yes, you are right if you said the answer is 8. It is correct because when we're dealing with squares, we notice that 8 squared is the same thing as 64. Or simply, you can say 8 times 8 is the same thing as 64. Therefore, we are right to say that the square root of 64 is the same thing as 8. This is how it works. But let me tell you, in mathematics, we use this sign like this, sign of this nature, to mean square root. So each time you see this sign, we call it the square root. So for the above examples I've written here, it is best written as the square root of 25, like this, is equal to 5. Better. The square root of 49 is equal to 7. The square root of 64 is equal to 8. And you can think of many more examples. I believe this video has helped you to see the difference between a square and a square root and how to identify each of them and even how to create them. Can you try filling in the missing numbers from this? What is the square root of 121? You try filling up the answer in the box. What about this one? The square root of a particular number is equal to 13. What is the missing number? Post your answers in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you later.